Okay Patrick, here's the paddock. I know it looks a wee bit different after a normal Canterbury summer. This last 10 days we've had about 10 inches of rain. Been sprayed off a couple of times. Now, what are you advising we put in here?
We're going to plant some Spitfire rape, some winter star annual ryegrass, some Persian clover for biological nitrogen fixation, and we're also going to put in half a kilo of plantain just to try and reduce the amount of nitrate that's leaching into the soils. So we should see germination within sort of 10 days, but it could be as quick as 5 days.
If all the ducks line up and we get a good growing season, what sort of yield will we get?
So there's no reason we shouldn't be able to achieve about 10 tonne, if not more, considering the time that we're planting. So the rape variety that we're putting in, Spitfire, is 110-day maturity, so a little under 4 months, but it will hold its quality through June and July, which is really important, so you've got high quality feed because you're going to start grazing in July. So 10 tonne plus is achievable here with that. The crop looks outstanding.
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it, when you get out and look across it? It's all there.
Yeah, no, it looks really good. The rape's certainly become dominant, as has the ryegrass, but we can see a lot of these secondary species are in there and establishing well, so we'll have a look, yeah.
Okay Patrick, the 4 species we planted are all there and they're looking great.
Yeah, they are, Richard. Really pleased with how the sward is established and the ratios of the species here. So we've got obviously our Spitfire rape, which is our dominant or primary species in the sward. Then we have our annual ryegrass, which is winter star, which is our sort of our secondary species in the sward. And then further down, we have our Persian clover and our plantain, which are both tertiary species. Now they're not adding a huge amount to the mix now, but they will longer term. Obviously all of these species have the capacity to regrow. So in the spring, once the rape has been grazed out, you'll have well-established pasture paddock.
Patrick, it's been great that Ben's been able to call in, check the crop when he's in the area, in the district, and monitor it. It's been great.
Yeah, well, that's part of the service we offer. We really like to take responsibility for the crops that we manage for our customers. Ben's been in the paddock 6 times in the last 10 weeks, and one thing he did pick up on in mid-March was some insect chilling. And we decided to go with an IPM-friendly product, an Xrel, in combination with Pyrotek. So that means that we don't actually have any collateral damage in terms of beneficial insects, so ladybirds, lacewings, and your parasitic wasps. And we also decided to address what we thought was a nitrogen deficiency in the crop, so we put some liquid nitrogen with that as well. And as a consequence, the crop looks really good, and I think we've got it to its potential.
What can I expect over the next month, 6 weeks?
Yeah, it's a good question, Richard. We have the Spitfire rape and the winter star as the dominant species here, so both of those grow really, really well in cool conditions. So through the month of May, so for the next 4 weeks, we should be able to accumulate about 50 kilos of dry matter per day, so about 1.5 tonne. It won't grow much in June, obviously a very cold month, but the crop will mature and you should have between 7 and 8 tonne of yield by the time we get to July. Well, Richard, here we are. Some fairly challenging conditions of late with a fair amount of rainfall in the last week. How's it going on the crop?
Yeah, well, I would say very good. Like you said, midwinter, 110 mils this last week. So I haven't seen the place so wet, but it's dried out, sun's out now, and the crop's really doing well, and the stock are loving it.
Yeah, the crop has really held its quality extremely well into the winter, and all of the different species that we planted, so the winter star, annual ryegrass, the plantain and the Persian clover have established well. And the theory of that was to give the animals a balanced diet, but also they do need some fibre, and so it's important to offer them some silage so that they get that fibre component.
How am I going as far as residual after grazing for regrowth?
Yeah, I think you're doing a pretty good job, particularly with the rape, Richard. All of the species in this mix have the capacity to regrow, but the residual is going to have the greatest influence on the rape because it grows leaf from the nodes. We want to make sure we've got about 8 inches of stalk exposed and above the ground to get that right. When are you looking to finish grazing the crop?
Well, the way it's going, about 4 to 5 weeks, which will be about mid-August.
Yeah, so that works perfectly because obviously the rape is a brassica, so it requires vernalisation through the winter, so chilling, and after that it will go reproductive. So if we leave it any longer than 4 or 5 weeks, there's a risk that we'll get seed head in the paddock, and we'll start to lose quality. So that's about perfect.